Afternoon, everyone. Corey here with Ride Suspension. We're going to make another video on some comparisons of things. One of the top ones I get asked about, is it worth it? Is it not? You know, what is it a gimmick? Is bladder conversions. So WPs, from as far as I remember, they come with what people would call a piston kit. And what this is you have a piston with an O-ring and a seal, and a slide seal, and it slides inside of here. Reason that being is so you can adjust your height and pressure and everything like that, and they make it where it's serviceable. There's been companies over the years, a lot of companies that have started making what's called a bladder kit, which essentially is a kind of like a Showa and KYB, where it has a bladder in there. And even the professional, like the Trax, the 8950s, which is the Trax, all the big name people run bladder kits. Reason being is less moving parts. You have more surface area when you actually fill these up with the nitrogen, so thus meaning a plusher area. You don't have to worry about these O-rings leaking. You don't have to worry about the pistons getting out of place, or if you do it yourself and you don't know how to set the piston height, your shock's not going to perform in the way it needs to perform. So you hear both sides of the spectrum. You hear people that run bladder kits, and they'll run, you know, there's multiple companies that make bladder kits, and you'll hear that they leak, everything like that. Stick with stock, you know, professionals don't run bladder kits, so why should you? But that's just not true. The ones, like I said, Trax comes from factory with the bladder kit. They have the WP bladder kit. Me personally, what we run in all of our bladder kits, we use the K-Tech one with the Kashima coating. Not only do they look good, they perform good. Once installed properly, they improve the feeling of your shock from night and day. It's a good upgrade to have. They're not, normal bladder kits run about 150, 200 bucks plus $100 on install. And they add to your bike. I run them personally on all of my bikes, because I don't like having to fight with the pistons. And the reason I don't like fighting with them is because sometimes WP pistons aren't a problem, but sometimes WP makes it very hard to find certain O-rings for these, the little O-rings in your shock and all that stuff. And it makes it hard to service these. And once these O-rings go bad from moving up and down and all that stuff, it contaminates your shock with nitrogen, which in tails just doesn't make it perform right. So with that, you know, there's going to be a whole bunch of questions from this, and whether or not you should do it or not. And this is the way I see this one, is it's more of a luxury performance upgrade more than a necessity. You don't need it. I've seen bikes, WPs, all this stuff rocking stock bladders or stock piston kits for 300-400 hours, and they do just fine. People like them, people don't. And it's the same thing with the bladder kit. Some people like them. They've tried some companies, don't like the companies. They leak, they don't like the way they look, they don't like the way they perform. And you kind of got to do your research, talk to your local tuner, you know, you guys can leave me a comment. So those are some of the basics. The other big benefit to bladders is when the shock heats up, because shocks heat up, and they heat up quite a bit. The bladder allows for more surface area for the oil to go around the bladder, thus meaning that the fluid is not essentially cooler, but you have less chance of shock fade, just like brake fade or anything like that. When things get hot, stuff stops working. And with the piston kit, especially on the new pistons, if you see this lip right here, that's all the piston is moving. So when things heat up and everything like that and expand, you're already putting more, see, it's stopped. You're already maxing out the level of how much your fluid can expand. And of course that's compensated when it comes to setting bladder height and everything like that. But you just run into heat fade and everything like that. So, and that's where I like to run bladders, and the added comfort for when you're really, you know, going over square edges and stuff like that. It kind of adds plushiness to your bike without bottoming out. So if you guys have any questions or whatever videos you want to see in the next one, let me know. I want to get a list and start talking to people and providing more videos for you guys. Just because I know when I first started writing everything like that, I had all these questions, and you go to the internet, you go to Facebook, everything like that, and the questions are always two-sided. You have some people that like them, some people that don't, and go from there. So until next time, remember, I'm Corey with Ride Suspension, ride beyond your limits. And if you have any questions or comments, give me a follow and leave them in the comments. Thank you.